You are walking through the night toward a small tent that stands in a clearing surrounded by trees, and the air around you is cool and soft and carries the scent of rain. Rain that has already begun to fall, gentle drops that tap against leaves and branches overhead, creating a sound that is soothing and rhythmic and constant. And as you move toward the tent, you feel the anticipation of shelter, of warmth, of a safe, enclosed space where you can rest while the rain continues its patient work of watering the earth. And the path beneath your feet is slightly damp, the ground soft with moisture, and you walk carefully, slowly, taking your time. There is no rush, no urgency, nothing requiring you to move quickly. And with each step, you feel yourself leaving behind whatever concerns or thoughts occupied your mind earlier, letting them fall away like leaves dropping from trees, natural and effortless and necessary. And you approach the tent, which glows softly from within, a gentle amber light visible through the fabric, warm and inviting. And you reach the entrance, and you pause for just a moment to look up at the sky, dark and heavy with clouds, and you feel a raindrop land on your cheek, cool and wet, and you smile slightly at this small contact with the weather, this tiny blessing from the sky. And then you crouch down and you unzip the tent entrance, hearing the sound of the zipper teeth separating, a familiar mechanical sound that signals transition, that marks the boundary between outside and inside, between exposure and shelter. And you pull the flap aside and you duck your head and you enter this sanctuary that has been waiting for you. Inside the tent, the air is warmer, noticeably warmer than outside, and this warmth wraps around you immediately like a blanket, like an embrace, and you zip the entrance closed behind you, sealing yourself into this small, protective space. And you turn to look at the interior of the tent, taking in the details, noticing everything that makes this space comfortable and safe. And the tent is larger than it appeared from outside, has enough room for you to sit up comfortably, to stretch out fully, to move around without feeling cramped. And the floor is covered with sleeping pads and blankets, layers of soft material that create a cushioned surface. And in one corner, there is a small battery-powered lantern, the source of the amber light saw from outside. And this lantern glows steadily, casts a warm golden light that makes everything in the tent look soft and slightly dreamlike. And the tent fabric itself is a neutral color, perhaps tan or light gray, and the light shining through from inside makes the walls glow softly, and you can see your shadow on the tent wall, large and slightly distorted. And watching this shadow move when you move creates a small sense of playfulness, of connection to childhood, to times when shadows were fascinating and magical. And you move your hand and watch the shadow hand move on the tent wall. And this simple interaction between your body and light and surface is grounding, is centering, is a reminder that you are here, that you are present, that you are real and solid and alive in this moment. You begin to remove the outer layers of your clothing, taking off a jacket or sweater that is damp from the rain, and you hang this on a small hook that is attached to the tent's ceiling support, and the fabric drips slightly, tiny drops of water falling onto the tent floor where they are absorbed by the blankets, creating small dark spots that slowly spread and then disappear. And you remove your shoes, unlacing them slowly, taking your time, and you set them near the tent entrance where they can dry. And you peel off damp socks and set them aside as well. And your bare feet feel the softness of the blankets beneath them, feel the warmth that has accumulated in this enclosed space. And you wiggle your toes, appreciating the comfort. Appreciating the simple pleasure of warm, dry feet after being out in the damp evening air. And this transition from wet to dry, from cold to warm, is deeply satisfying, is one of those small physical comforts that brings disproportionate pleasure. And you take a moment to simply appreciate it, to notice how good it feels to be dry and warm and safe, to have successfully crossed from the outdoor world into this indoor sanctuary, to have claimed this space as your own for the night. And you feel a sense of accomplishment, even though you have done nothing particularly difficult, because the act of preparing for rest, of creating comfortable conditions for sleep, is itself worthy of acknowledgement, is itself a form of self-care that deserves recognition. The rain on the tent creates a constant, gentle sound, a soft pattering that varies in intensity, sometimes lighter, just a whisper of drops against fabric, sometimes slightly heavier, a more insistent drumming, but never loud, never overwhelming, always remaining within a range that is soothing rather than disturbing. And this rain-sleep ambience fills the tent, becomes the dominant sound, the background against which all other sounds occur. And you listen to this rain, really listen to it, paying attention to its patterns and rhythms, noticing how it is not completely random, but has a kind of structure, how there are moments when many drops hit simultaneously, creating a brief crescendo, and moments when the rain thins to almost nothing, and then builds again. And this rising and falling is like breathing, like the tide, like all natural rhythms that pulse and flow without ever stopping completely. And listening to rain, you feel yourself synchronizing with it somehow. Feel your own breathing slowing to match its patient rhythm. Feel your heartbeat calming. Feel your entire nervous system downshifting into a lower gear, into a state more appropriate for rest than for activity. And this synchronization happens naturally, happens without effort, happens because your body recognizes these natural rhythms and wants to align with them, wants to be part of the larger pattern, wants to move with the world rather than against it. You arrange your sleeping area, pulling blankets and pillows into a configuration that looks comfortable, creating a nest, a small personal space within the larger space of the tent. And you have several blankets available. Some are thick and heavy, perfect for covering yourself, for creating weight and warmth. And others are thinner and softer, good for lying on, for creating layers between your body and the tent floor. And you layer these blankets carefully, creating a soft foundation, smoothing out wrinkles, adjusting corners, making sure everything is positioned just right. And then you have pillows, perhaps 2 or 3 pillows, and you arrange these at one end of your sleeping space, stacking them and adjusting them until they are positioned just right, at just the right height and angle to support your head and neck comfortably. And this process of arranging your sleeping space is calming in itself, is a ritual that signals to your body and mind that sleep is approaching, that rest is near. And your hands move slowly and deliberately, placing each item with care, treating each blanket and pillow as if it were precious, as if it mattered how it was positioned. And in a way, it does matter, because the quality of your rest depends on these small details, on whether your sleeping surface is smooth or lumpy, on whether your pillow supports you properly, on whether your blankets are arranged in a way that allows you to move without becoming uncovered. And you step back, slightly to look at what you have created, and it looks inviting, looks perfect, looks exactly like the kind of space where you could rest deeply and well. You sit down on the blankets, lowering yourself carefully, and the sleeping pads beneath the blankets compress slightly under your weight, and you feel how they cushion you, how they protect you from the hard ground beneath, how they create a barrier between your body and the earth. And you adjust your position, shifting until you find a comfortable way to sit, perhaps cross-legged or with your knees drawn up,
And you just sit here for a moment, just being still, just being present in this space. And you notice more details now that you are settled. You notice the way the tent fabric moves slightly when the wind touches it. See small ripples running across the walls, gentle undulations like waves on water. And you notice the shadows cast
by the lantern, how they shift and change with these movements, creating a subtle animation, a visual texture that is interesting without being stimulating. And you notice the smell of the tent, a combination of clean fabric and the earthy scent of rain and forest that seeps in through the ventilation, through the small mesh windows that allow air to circulate while keeping insects out. And these smells are natural and pleasant, are the smells of being outdoors, of being connected to the natural world, even while being sheltered from it. And you breathe deeply, inhaling these scents, letting them fill your lungs, letting them become part of your experience of this night, of this cozy night, walk through into rest and peace. Outside the tent, you can hear other sounds beyond the rain. You can hear the wind moving through the trees, a soft rushing sound that rises and falls, sometimes building to a louder whoosh and then fading back to a whisper. And occasionally you hear what might be a branch creaking or leaves rustling more vigorously. And these sounds are distant and muted, filtered through the tent fabric, arriving at your ears softened and gentle. And far away, very far away, you hear the low rumble of thunder, so distant that it is more felt than heard, a vibration in the air rather than a distinct sound. And this distant thunder is not threatening, does not signal danger or the approach of violent weather. It is simply weather being weather, the earth and sky engaged in their ancient conversation, their endless exchange of energy and moisture and sound. And you are here to witness this conversation, to be present during this rain, this wind, this gentle storm that is nourishing the forest and washing the world clean. And you feel privileged to be here, feel grateful for the opportunity to experience this, to be outside civilization, outside routines and schedules and artificial light, to be here in nature with only a thin layer of fabric between you and the elements, and yet to be completely safe, completely comfortable, completely protected. You reach over and you adjust the lantern, turning a small dial that dims its light slightly, bringing the illumination down from bright amber to a softer, more muted glow. Just enough light to see by, just enough to keep complete darkness at bay, but not so much that it interferes with your body's natural preparation for sleep. And the dimmed light makes the tent feel even more cozy, even more like a cocoon, like a protected space suspended between earth and sky, between waking and sleeping, between the active day and the restful night. And you appreciate this in-between quality, appreciate being in a space that is not quite indoors, but not fully outdoors either, that combines the comfort of shelter with the connection to nature. And this combination is deeply satisfying to something in the human psyche, fulfills some ancient need for safety and connection simultaneously, speaks to that part of us that evolved sleeping in caves and under rock overhangs, protected from predators and weather, but still in contact with the natural world, still able to hear the rain and smell the earth and feel connected to the larger rhythms of the planet. You lie down now, slowly lowering yourself onto the blankets, feeling your way down, supporting yourself with your arms, and then letting your back make contact with the soft, layered surface you have prepared. And you feel the blankets compress and conform to your body shape. Feel them creating support exactly where you need it, under your lower back, under your shoulders, under your hips. And you bring your legs up and you stretch them out, extending them fully, pointing your toes
relaxing them. And you feel the length of your body making contact with the sleeping surface. Feel how your body is held, is supported, is cradled by this nest you have created, and you adjust slightly, shifting your hips, rolling your shoulders, turning
your head from side to side, finding the optimal position, the position where everything aligns and nothing strains, where your spine is neutral, where your joints are relaxed, where your muscles can let go. And when you find this position, you stop moving, you become still, and let yourself sink more deeply into the blankets. Let your weight fully commit to being held by this soft surface. And this surrender to gravity, this letting go of the muscular effort required to hold yourself upright, is immediately relaxing, immediately tells your body that it is time to rest, time to stop working, time to allow the restorative processes of sleep to begin their work. And your body responds to this signal, begins the cascade of physiological changes that prepare you for sleep, begins slowing your heart rate, begins reducing your blood pressure, begins shifting your brain waves from the rapid beta waves of active thinking to the slower alpha and theta waves of relaxation and early sleep. You reach for a blanket to cover yourself, pulling it up over your body, feeling its weight settle onto you. And this weight is comforting, is grounding, creates a sense of being held, being protected, being cared for. And you adjust the blanket so it covers you from shoulders to feet, tucking it around your sides, creating a small enclosed space within the larger enclosed space of the tent. And the blanket is soft against your skin, is warm but not hot, is exactly the right weight to make you feel secure without making you feel restricted. And you rest your hands on your chest or by your sides, wherever they fall naturally, and you close your eyes for a moment, just to test the darkness, just to see what it feels like to be here in this tent with your eyes closed, listening to the rain, and the darkness behind your eyelids is complete, but not frightening, is restful, is a signal to your visual system that it can stop processing, can stop working, can rest along with the rest of you. And you notice that even with your eyes closed, the rain sounds slightly different, slightly more present. Because without visual input, your hearing becomes more acute, becomes the primary sense, becomes the main channel through which you experience the world. And the rain fills this channel completely, becomes your entire sensory universe for these moments when your eyes are closed. When you open your eyes again, you look up at the tent ceiling, which is perhaps 3 feet above your face, close enough to feel intimate, but not so close as to feel confining. And you can see the tent fabric moving slightly with the breeze, can see small shadows and variations in the light. And you notice that you can see the rain hitting the tent, not the individual drops, but the effect they create, tiny impacts that momentarily change the shape of the fabric, that create small depressions and ripples. And watching this, you feel connected to the rain, feel that you are not separate from the weather, but are participating in it, are part of this rainy night, this wet darkness, this quiet time when the world is being washed and renewed. You feel grateful to be here, grateful to have this shelter, grateful to be dry and warm and safe while the rain falls. And this gratitude adds to your relaxation, makes you feel fortunate, makes you feel that you have everything you need, that nothing is missing, that this moment is complete and perfect exactly as it is. And this sense of completeness, of sufficiency, of having enough, is deeply peaceful, is the antidote to the constant wanting and striving that characterizes so much of modern life. And here in this tent, you can let go of wanting, can simply rest in having, can simply be grateful for what is. The sound of rain on the tent has become so constant that you almost stop noticing it as a distinct sound. It becomes more like a presence, like a companion, like something that is simply part of the environment, as fundamental as the air you breathe. And this rain creates a kind of privacy, a sonic barrier that separates you from the rest of the world. Because even if there were other people nearby, which there are not, you would not be able to hear them over the sound of the rain, and they would not be able to hear you. And this creates a sense of complete solitude, of being alone in the best possible way. Not lonely, but private, not isolated, but independent, free to think your own thoughts, feel your own feelings, exist in your own
experience without needing to attend to anyone else or perform any social role. And this freedom is deeply restful, is exactly what you need, is a gift that this rainy night is giving you. This opportunity to be completely yourself without observation or judgment, to exist in pure privacy, in pure solitude, in pure peace. And you accept this gift gratefully. You receive it fully. You allow yourself to be alone in this good way, this restorative way, this way that allows you to reconnect with yourself, to remember who you are beneath all the social roles and obligations and performances.
You breathe deeply, intentionally, filling your lungs completely with the slightly cool air of the tent. And you notice that the air tastes clean, tastes fresh, carries hints of rain and earth and forest. And breathing this air feels nourishing, feels like you are taking in something pure and good, something that is washing you clean from the inside, just as the rain is washing the forest clean from the outside. And you exhale slowly, releasing the breath completely, letting it flow out of you without holding anything back. And you continue this pattern, breathing in deeply and slowly, breathing out completely and slowly, establishing a rhythm, creating a pattern of breath that is calming, that is meditative, that helps to quiet the mind and relax the body. And with each exhale, you feel yourself releasing tension, releasing thoughts, releasing anything you have been holding on to, letting it all flow out with your breath, leaving you lighter, leaving you more at ease, leaving you more ready for sleep. And you continue this breathing, making it the center of your attention, using it as an anchor that keeps you present, that prevents your mind from wandering into planning or worrying or remembering. Because right now, you do not need to plan or worry or remember. Right now, you only need to breathe and listen to rain and allow your body to rest. You become aware of your body in a different way now, not as something you need to control or direct, but simply as something that exists, as a collection of sensations. And you notice the feeling of the blankets against your skin, the slight pressure where the blanket rests on your chest and legs, the warmth that is building between your body and the blankets, creating a small climate, a micro-environment that is perfectly suited to your comfort. And you notice your head resting on the pillow. Notice the support the pillow provides, the way it cradles your skull, the way it allows your neck muscles to fully relax, to stop holding up the weight of your head. And you notice your arms lying relaxed by your sides or resting on your chest. You notice your legs stretched out long, your feet warm beneath the blanket, your toes relaxed. And scanning through your body like this, you become aware of any places that are still holding tension, maybe in your jaw, maybe in your shoulders, maybe in your hips, and you consciously release that tension. You let it go. You allow those muscles to soften and relax. You give them permission to stop working, to stop holding, to simply be soft and heavy and at rest.
and you feel this relaxation spreading through your body like warmth spreading through water, gradually and completely, touching every part of you, releasing every knot, softening every tight place.
The rain continues its gentle drumming, and you listen to it with new attention, noticing its variations, noticing how sometimes the drops seem to hit the tent in clusters, creating little bursts of sound, and other times they arrive more evenly spaced, creating a steadier rhythm. And you notice that different parts of the tent produce different sounds when rain hits them. The roof of the tent, where the fabric is more taut, creates a higher pitched sound, a sharper tap, while the sides of the tent, where the fabric hangs more loosely, creates a softer, more muted sound. And these variations create a kind of music, an accidental composition that is constantly changing, constantly creating new patterns and combinations. And listening to this,
You feel your mind becoming quieter. Feel thoughts arising less frequently. Feel the usual mental chatter fading into the background, replaced by a state of open awareness, of simply listening, simply being present with the sound. And this state is restful, is meditative, is exactly what your mind needs after a day of thinking and planning and problem solving. It needs to simply receive, to simply perceive, to simply be present with what is, without having to analyze or interpret or respond.
you think about the rain itself, about where it comes from, about how it forms in clouds high above, how droplets gather around particles of dust or salt, how they grow heavier as more water condenses onto them, and eventually they become too heavy to remain suspended, and they fall, pulled by gravity back to earth. And you think about how this rain will soak into the soil, will be absorbed by roots, will be taken up by trees and plants, will become part of living things, will flow through stems and leaves, will participate in photosynthesis, will be transpired back into the atmosphere, and eventually will evaporate again and rise back into the sky, continuing the eternal cycle. And thinking about this cycle, you feel yourself part of it.
Feel that the water in your own body is part of this same system, has fallen as rain and has risen as vapor, has been ocean and cloud and river and blood, has moved through countless organisms and landscapes and weathers. And this recognition of connection, of being part of larger cycles and systems, is both humbling and comforting. Makes you feel small, but also makes you feel that you belong, that you are part of something vast and ongoing, that you are woven into the fabric of the planet, that you are not separate from nature, but are nature, are an expression of the same forces and patterns that create rain and wind and the growth of forests.
Outside the tent, the wind picks up slightly, and you hear it moving through the trees with more force, hear branches swaying and leaves rustling, hear the particular sound that wind makes when it moves through pine needles, a softer susurration than the sound it makes moving through broadleaves. And the tent itself moves slightly in response to this wind, the fabric pressing inward slightly on the windward side, billowing outward slightly on the other side. And this movement is gentle, is rhythmic, is like being rocked, like being in a cradle that is moved by invisible hands. And this rocking sensation is deeply soothing, is primal, connects to early memories of being held and rocked and comforted, connects to that infant experience of
being soothed by motion, by the rocking of arms or the swaying of a cradle. And you feel yourself relaxing even more deeply in response to this gentle motion. Feel yourself beginning to drift, beginning to float on the edge of sleep. And the tent becomes a vessel carrying you, becomes a boat floating on invisible waters, becomes a cradle suspended in darkness, and you are the precious cargo, the sleeping infant, the dreaming soul being carried through the night.
the lantern continues to glow
watch the light play across the tent ceiling. Watch how it creates a small world of light and shadow, how it makes the tent feel like a small universe complete unto itself. And you think about how humans have been creating such spaces for thousands of years, have been building shelters and lighting fires and gathering inside while weather happens outside, have been seeking protection from the elements while also seeking connection to them. And you feel connected to all those other humans across all those years, feel that you are engaged in the same ancient practice of seeking shelter, of creating safety, of making a small space warm and comfortable in the midst of larger forces that
are wild and uncontrollable. And this practice is deeply human, is part of what defines us as a species. This ability to create shelter, to transform raw materials into protection, to make ourselves safe. And doing this, creating this tent, lighting this lantern, arranging these blankets, you are participating in a tradition that stretches back to the earliest humans, back to the first people who thought to drape animal skins over poles, who thought to pile stones into walls, who thought to tame fire and bring it inside. And this connection to human history, to the long chain of generations who have slept and woken and slept again, is comforting, is grounding, makes you feel part of something larger than yourself.
You shift slightly under your blanket, adjusting to get even more comfortable, and the blanket rustles softly with this movement, makes a gentle sound like paper being crumpled very slowly. And you settle into your new position, and you become still again. And the stillness feels good, feels right, feels like exactly where you should be and what you should be doing. And you let your eyes close again. This time, you do not plan to open them. This time, you are ready to let go, to surrender to sleep, to allow consciousness to fade and dreams to begin. And you lie here in the darkness behind your eyelids, listening to the rain, feeling the blankets, breathing slowly, and you feel yourself beginning to drift, beginning to lose the sharp edges
of awareness, beginning to slip into that twilight state between waking and sleeping, where thoughts become dreamlike, where logic loosens, where anything seems possible. And in this state, you are neither fully present nor fully absent. You are hovering between worlds, between the waking world and the dream world. And this hovering is pleasant, is its own kind of experience, valuable in itself, worth savoring. And so you linger here for a while, not rushing towards sleep, but not holding on to wakefulness either, just existing in this in-between place, this liminal space, this threshold. Images begin to arise in your mind, not directed or controlled, but spontaneous, products of the relaxed mind beginning its transition into sleep. And you see rain falling in a forest, see it dripping from leaves, see it creating tiny streams on the forest floor, see it pooling in the hollows of tree roots, see it running down bark in rivulets. And you see yourself walking through this rainy forest, safe and dry somehow, protected by some invisible barrier. And you are not cold, you are warm, you are comfortable, you are simply walking and observing, watching the rain transform the landscape, watching how it makes everything darker and richer, how it brings out the deep green of moss, the dark brown of wet bark, how it makes the forest smell more strongly of earth and growth and decay. And this image is peaceful, is calming, is exactly the kind of mental content that supports relaxation. And you let yourself stay with this image, let yourself explore it, let yourself notice details, the color of the bark on the trees, the sound of rain hitting leaves, the smell of wet earth, the feeling of soft ground beneath your feet. And this imagining is vivid, is almost more real than memory.
is creating an experience in your mind that your body responds to, relaxing more deeply, breathing more slowly, settling more completely into rest.
The rain on the tent continues, has been continuing all along, will continue through the night. And this constancy is reassuring, is a promise that you will not be disturbed, that the world outside will remain stable, that nothing will change dramatically or demand your attention. And you can rest here knowing that when you wake, the rain might still be falling, or it might have stopped. But either way, the night will have passed peacefully, will have held you gently, will have allowed you to sleep without interruption. And this knowing allows you to let go more completely, to trust that you are safe, that you can surrender to sleep without needing to remain vigilant, without needing to keep part of yourself alert and watchful. You can sleep deeply and completely, can give yourself over entirely to rest, can trust that the tent will protect you, that the blankets will keep you warm, that the morning will come when it comes, and you will wake when you wake. And until then, there is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to think about, nothing you need to worry about. There is only this moment, this breath, this sensation of being held and warm and safe.
You notice that your breathing has become very slow, very deep, very regular, and you are barely aware of it now. It has become automatic, has fallen into a rhythm that is optimal for sleep, and your heartbeat has slowed as well. You can feel it if you pay attention. A slow, steady pulse, calm and strong, beating patiently in your chest, pumping blood through your body, delivering oxygen, removing waste, doing its work quietly and efficiently. And these physiological signs tell you that your body is ready for sleep, that all systems are shifting into their nighttime mode, into the state that allows for restoration and healing and growth. And you appreciate your body for this. Appreciate that it knows what to do, that it handles these
transitions automatically, that you do not need to consciously manage any of this. You can simply allow it to happen. Can trust that your body knows how to sleep, knows how to rest, knows how to heal itself when given the opportunity.
The tent feels even warmer now, or perhaps you have adjusted to the temperature, have reached an equilibrium where you cannot tell where your body heat ends and the ambient warmth begins. And this thermal neutrality is perfect for sleep, means that you will not be awakened by being too hot or too cold, means that your body can maintain its optimal temperature without effort. And wrapped in your blanket, lying on your soft bed of sleeping pads and layers, you feel cocooned, feel protected, feel held in a way that is completely secure. And this security is what allows true rest, true letting go, true surrender to the vulnerability of sleep. Because sleep is vulnerability, is a state in which you are helpless, in which you cannot protect yourself, in which you are completely at the mercy of your environment. And so you can only sleep when you feel safe, when you trust that you are protected. And here in this tent, you feel that safety, feel that protection, feel that you can let go completely without any part of you needing to remain on guard.
You hear the rain, always the rain, the constant companion of this night. And the sound has become part of you now, is no longer something you listen to, but something you are immersed in, something that surrounds you completely. Like being inside a sound, like being inside a feeling, like being inside peace itself. And this immersion is like being underwater, but being able to breathe, like being held in something larger than yourself that supports you completely. And you float in this sound, drift in it, allow it to carry you deeper into relaxation. deeper into that state where consciousness begins to fragment, where awareness becomes less focused, where the boundaries between self and environment begin to dissolve, where you are not sure
if you are listening to the rain, or if you are the rain, if you are separate from this sound, or if you have become this sound, if you are an observer, or if you are the observed. And this confusion of boundaries is pleasant, is restful, is part of the process of letting go. Far away you hear thunder again, even more distant than before, barely perceptible, just a low rumble that might be thunder or might be your imagination. And this sound is so far away that it poses no threat, is just evidence that somewhere out there in the vastness of the night, there are storms happening, there is weather unfolding, there are forces at work that are completely indifferent to your small presence here in this tent. And this indifference is strangely comforting, reminds you that you do not need to be important, do not need to matter on a cosmic scale. You can simply be here, small and safe and warm, and that is enough. That is everything. You can rest in your smallness, can find peace in your insignificance, can let go of any need to be special or significant or important. You can just be a creature seeking rest, just be a body lying in a tent listening to rain, just be consciousness experiencing this moment. And this is enough. This is all you need to be. Your thoughts are becoming less coherent now, are beginning to take on the quality of dreams. Associations are looser. Logic is breaking down. Not try to direct or control. You simply let it flow. Let it carry you. Let it be what it is. And this flow is taking you deeper into sleep, is the transition that happens every night, but that you are rarely conscious of. And being conscious of it now, being able to observe your own descent into sleep, is interesting, but not so interesting that it keeps you awake. You can observe and drift simultaneously, can be aware and let go at the same time. And you notice thoughts arising. Notice how they are becoming stranger, less connected to reality, more dreamlike. And you notice that you are not bothered by this strangeness, are not trying to make sense of these thoughts. You are simply letting them be, letting them pass through consciousness like clouds across sky, appearing and dissolving, never staying long, never demanding attention.
The tent is your whole world now. Nothing exists beyond its fabric walls. There is only this small, warm space, and the sound of rain, and the feeling of blankets, and the darkness behind your eyelids, and the slow rhythm of your breath. And this contraction of the world is not limiting, but liberating, means you do not need to think about anything else, do not need to worry about anything beyond this moment, beyond this breath, beyond this sensation of being held and warm and safe. And you rest in this contracted world, rest in this simplicity, rest in the knowledge that this is enough, this is all you need, this is everything. And in this simplicity, you find a peace that is deeper than any peace you can find in complexity, in busyness, in the pursuit of goals and the accumulation of experiences. Here in this simple moment of lying in a tent, listening to rain, you find the peace that you have been seeking all along. The peace that was always available, but that you could not access because you were too busy, too distracted, too caught up in the world. And now you are not caught up in the world. Now you are here. Now you are present. Now you are at peace. Your body is very heavy now, or very light. It is hard to tell which.
The sensation of weight has become ambiguous, and you feel simultaneously grounded and floating, anchored and adrift. And this paradoxical sensation is a sign of deep relaxation, is evidence that your nervous system has fully shifted into its rest state. And in this state, healing happens. Your immune system strengthens, your cells repair themselves, your brain processes and integrates the experiences of the day, consolidates memories, clears away metabolic waste, does all the housekeeping that it can only do when you are asleep. And all of this happens automatically while you sleep, without any conscious effort or direction. Your body knows what to do, has been doing this every night of your life, is doing it now as you lie here listening to rain and drifting toward dreams. And you trust your body to do this work. Trust that it knows better than your conscious mind what needs to happen, what needs to be repaired, what needs to be released, what needs to be integrated. And you let go of any need to control or manage. You simply trust and allow. The rain continues, will always continue, is eternal and unchanging and perfectly reliable. And this reliability is what makes it such a perfect companion for sleep, because it will not startle you, will not change suddenly, will simply be there, steady and patient and endlessly soothing, providing a constant, gentle background that makes the world feel soft and manageable and kind. And you can release yourself into this sound completely, can trust that it will hold you through the night, will be there when you wake, will provide a constant, gentle presence that makes everything feel safe. And you are grateful for this rain, grateful for this tent, grateful for this blanket and this pillow and this moment, grateful to be alive and to have body that can rest and a mind that can let go, and a life that has brought you to this point, to this perfect, simple moment of lying in a tent while rain falls and sleep approaches. And you feel this gratitude in your chest. Feel it warming you from the inside. Feel it spreading through you like light, like love, like peace itself. You are barely awake now, are poised on the very edge of sleep, and you could tip either way, could surface back into wakefulness, or could slide into dreams. And you choose dreams, you choose sleep, you choose to let go. And with this choice, you feel yourself beginning to fall, slowly and gently, like a leaf falling from a tree, spinning and drifting and eventually coming to rest. And you fall through layers of consciousness, through twilight and shadow and deeper darkness. And the rain is still there, will always be there, falling on the tent, protecting you, keeping you safe, creating this cocoon of sound that isolates you from the world, that creates a boundary between you and everything else, that makes this tent a sacred space. Temple of rest, a sanctuary of peace. And you fall through this rain of sound, fall through this night of peace, fall into sleep, into dreams, into rest. And you are gone now, are sleeping, are no longer conscious in the ordinary sense. But something in you remains aware. Some deep part of you continues to listen to the rain, continues to feel the blankets, continues to exist in this space. And this deep awareness holds you, keeps you safe, allows you to sleep without worry, allows you to dream without fear. And the tent continues to stand through the night. The fabric continues to keep out the rain. The lantern continues its warm glow, though you no longer see it. And the rain continues to fall, drop after drop after drop, endless and patient and gentle.
And each drop that hits the tent is like a small blessing, a small gift, a small reminder that the world is still here, is still functioning, is still providing. And the earth beneath the tent is drinking this rain, is absorbing it, is being nourished by it. And the trees around the tent are also receiving this gift, are also being fed, are also being washed clean. And you are part of this larger system, are also being nourished and cleansed and renewed by this rainy night. And you sleep on.
Deeply and completely, your breathing slow and even, your heartbeat calm and steady, your body relaxed and heavy, and your mind is wandering through dreams now. Dreams that are influenced by the rain, dreams of water and flow and gentleness, dreams of being carried and held and protected, dreams that are peaceful and restorative, that are doing their own necessary work of processing and integrating and making sense of experience.
The night deepens around the tent. The darkness becomes more complete. The rain continues its patient falling, and you continue your patient sleeping. And time passes in its slow, inevitable way, seconds becoming minutes, becoming hours, and the earth turns beneath you, rotating you slowly through the darkness toward the light that will eventually come, toward the morning that is still far away, but that is approaching with each moment. But morning is not now. Morning is later. Morning is tomorrow. Now there is only night, only rain, only sleep, only this perfect darkness, this perfect peace, this perfect rest. And you are held in this perfection, are cradled in it, are protected by it, and nothing can harm you here. Nothing can disturb you. You are completely safe, completely warm, completely at peace. And you sleep on, and the rain falls on, and the night holds on, and everything is exactly as it should be. Everything is perfect. Everything is well. And in your sleeping, you dream of forests and rain. Dream of walking through wet woods where every leaf drips with moisture, where the air is thick with the smell of earth and growth, where mushrooms push up through leaf litter, where ferns unfurl new fronds, where everything is alive and growing and being nourished by this endless rain. And you walk through this dream forest feeling happy, feeling at home, feeling that you belong here, that you are part of this wet green world. And you come to a stream that is running high with rainwater, and you sit beside this stream and you listen to its sound, which is like the sound of the rain on your tent, which is like the sound that surrounds you even as you sleep. And sitting beside this stream, you feel utterly at peace, feel utterly content, feel that you have everything you need, and you could stay here forever in this dream, beside this stream, listening to water flow, feeling rain fall, existing in this state of perfect peace. And perhaps you do stay there forever. Perhaps this dream extends through the entire night. Or perhaps you move on to other dreams, other scenes, other experiences. It does not matter. What matters is that you are resting, that you are sleeping, that you are allowing your body and mind to do what they need to do, that you are not fighting or resisting or trying to control. You are simply allowing, simply being, simply resting in this deep sleep environment that the tent and the rain have created. For you. And the rain falls on, never stopping, never changing its essential character, though it varies in intensity, sometimes lighter, sometimes heavier, but always gentle, always soothing, always the perfect soundtrack for sleep. And this rain is not just falling on your tent,
but is falling on the entire forest, is falling on trees and bushes and rocks and streams, is falling on the paths between the trees and the clearings in the forest, and the distant mountains and the faraway ocean. This rain is part of a system that covers the earth, that moves moisture from ocean to sky to land and back to ocean again. And you are sleeping under this rain, are being blessed by it, are being included in this vast system of water and weather. And this inclusion is meaningful, is significant, makes you feel part of something larger than yourself, makes you feel connected to the planet, to the biosphere, to the vast interlocking systems that support life. And as you sleep, your body is working, is repairing, is restoring, is doing all the things that it can only do when you are deeply at rest. It is producing growth hormones, is strengthening your immune system, is consolidating memories, is clearing toxins from your brain, is repairing damaged tissues, is building new cells, is doing all of this complex biochemical work automatically, without any conscious direction, simply because you have given it the opportunity, simply because you have created the conditions for rest, simply because you are here in this tent, warm and safe and comfortable, listening to rain, sleeping deeply. And you will wake from this sleep restored, renewed, refreshed, ready to face whatever comes next. But that is
Later, that is tomorrow, that is not now. Now there is only sleep, only rain, only peace, only this perfect darkness in which you rest completely. The hours pass, and the rain continues, and your sleep continues, and the night continues its slow progression toward dawn, though dawn is still far away, still on the other side of darkness. And you sleep through this darkness, sleep through this rain, sleep through this night. And your sleeping is deep and restful, and exactly what you need, is the best sleep you have had in a long time, is the kind of sleep that leaves you feeling transformed, that leaves you feeling like a new person, that leaves you feeling that you have been somewhere important, that you have done something necessary, even though all you have done is lie in a tent and sleep while rain fell. And sometimes the simplest things are the most profound. Sometimes the quietest moments are the most meaningful. Sometimes doing nothing is doing everything that needs to be done.
And you sleep on, your breathing slow and even, your heartbeat calm and steady, your body completely relaxed, your mind wandering through peaceful dreams. And the rain falls on, gentle and constant and endlessly patient. And the tent stands strong, keeping you dry, keeping you warm, keeping you safe. And the blankets hold you, and the pillow supports you, and the night wraps around you like another blanket, like another layer of protection. And you are held by all of this, by the tent and the blankets and the rain and the night and the earth beneath and the sky above. You are held in a web of protection and care and support. And you can rest completely in this holding, can surrender completely to this support, can sleep without any reservation or hesitation, can give yourself over entirely to rest, to peace, to the deep restorative sleep that your body and mind need, that they have been craving, that they finally have the opportunity to experience here in this cozy tent during night rain, here in this perfect moment that extends through hours, here in this sanctuary of sound and warmth and safety, here in this place of complete and total peace.